So now we're getting towards the joining tables part. And in class, I showed everybody how to do it wrong on purpose, because you can't tell it's wrong unless you know what you're looking for, or until you run it and things are disappointing. It doesn't do what you hoped it would do. So I'm going to skip that step. I'm going to go straight to do how to do it right. Okay. So we want to add some more data here. Let's say we're doing a project on crime, but the data that we have on our computers is just census data. It's just the data we've been working with since the first day of school. We do not have crime data, but we want crime data to do a project. So we may find it in a spreadsheet. We might be able to go to the police department and get the data in a spreadsheet, and that's what we did, or what the teacher at Lee High School did. She grabbed all the data they had. And so to do this, I'm going to collapse the census so you can see this better. This table here called all data, it's all the crime data that they had to give us since 2009. And that's probably when they started keeping everything in a geodatabase. Add it to the map. And you notice it's popped in over here. It doesn't do anything on the map though, because it's not a spatial feature. It's a table. It's just like a spreadsheet, a CSV file from Excel. But it has something interesting here. Did you notice it has FIPS codes? Which does it have? It has that's 51, so that's the state. 059, that's Fairfax County. So these are the FIPS codes for the tracks in Fairfax County. The problem is this data table is a standalone table. It's not linked to the tracks yet, and that's what we're going to do. Okay, so let's close this one for a minute and see what we have over here. Let's open up the attribute table for this, for the tracks, and here are the FIPS codes for the tracks in this layer. But I want you to notice something. As I stop the mouse, do you see that it says the type is text? Right below FIPS. I'll do that again. Right below the FIPS, it says the type is text. Okay, you can also see that by going down here, right click on FIPS and go to the fields, and you can see that this is a text field. Okay, but this shortcut of just mousing onto it is handy. You see it in an instant. Okay, now that says text, so let's see what the attribute table, or what the crime data table says. We mouse onto it and it says, ooh, double. That means that this data is a number in what's called double format. And I won't go into what the double or short integer, long integer, and float mean. Some of you may have heard those terms or used those terms in a computer class in programming. But what's important to know in geospatial is that if you don't have data in the same format, here it's double, the other table it's text. If we don't have them in the same format, you can't join them. So we have to make them the same. But we're not going to mess with this data. This data that's the table is what we want to join to the layer inside. Okay, and we want to join this data to this feature that's already in ArcGIS Pro. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, we have to go back to the tracks and we open up its attribute table. And what we're going to do is add a new field to it. Okay, so we're going to go over here to where it says add a field, and you'll see a little window pop up. Add a field, and this and this field is going to be called FIPS1. Okay, the other FIPS was just called FIPS. We're just going to call this FIPS1 because it's a new field, and we're going to change this data type from long. We're not going to keep it as text. We're going to change it to double so it matches the type of data in the all data spreadsheet. And we're going to come over here to number format and change it to numeric. And we're going to take away all these decimal places because FIPS codes don't have decimals. Okay, and now it's done. But then you have to go up here to the top where you see the pencil on top of a thing called a floppy disk, which maybe you've seen in an old movie. Okay, and so we're all set. We don't need to have this fields window where we create fields open any longer, but we do want to check to see if that field was added to the very end. Let's go way over here to the end, and there you see FIPS1, and it has zeros in it because there's no data there yet, and we're going to give it data. So how do we do it? We right click. Oh, sorry, my bad. We right click on the FIPS code here, the FIPS1. We want this to have the same values. We want this to have the same values as the one way back over here that is text. But when we bring it over to the other one, when we bring it into FIPS1, because we created a double field type or data type, it will become translated into double. So go down to calculate field. The field we want to fill is FIPS1. I'm going to use this expression type that's a form of Python script that it's doing for us. And FIPS1 is going to be equal to FIPS. All you do is double click FIPS and put that in there. Okay, and then let me close this. Okay, now we run it. It didn't work. Let's see. Try it again because it's been hanging for me here. It worked earlier. That should be right. It's equal to. We don't want FIPS1, we want FIPS. We want FIPS to be in that field. Run it again. All right, I don't know why that took 2 tries. Hopefully you won't take 2 tries for you. I did exactly the same thing. All I did was reselect all the parameters and it filled it, and that's good. That's what we wanted. Okay, and why is that good? Because now those are double. Okay, and they're going to match the ones here. So close this. Actually, we don't need to close that. We'll leave that open. Let's do the join. You see that we're at the end of the line here. The only data we have is FIPS1. There's nothing beyond it. Let's see what happens if the join works. Right click and go down to joins, and we're going to add a join. And we're going to add this table to this feature. So here we go. Here's the join. We want to do the input field is going to be FIPS1, and notice that the all data 2019 is called FIPS because it's already a double field. Okay, so our FIPS1 that's in double now matches. And how do I know that it matched? And how should you know? Is that ArcGIS is searching for these commonalities, and if it finds them, it fills all this automatically. If you find that you have to fill this manually, it means that ArcGIS Pro was not able to find 2 fields in 2 different tables, this table of tracks and this table of data. If it's not able to find those common fields to do the join on automatically, then something's wrong. And you don't really want to try to force it because Pro knows. Pro knows. Okay, and now let's run this and see if it joins. And if it joined, we're going to see a bunch more data now, and it worked. Here's that FIPS1. See that? It brought over the FIPS code from that table. This FIPS code here, this FIPS line, came out of this table. That's the first line of that table. But this is what we cared about. We have median home values, unemployment rates, poverty rates, bachelor's degree, unemployment rate, all at poverty rate. This was the data that we wanted to have to answer questions about why crime might be higher in some places than others. Is it related to poverty? Is it related to unemployment? If we didn't have this data joined, then we wouldn't have any way of answering these questions. That's why this is a powerful skill, powerful tool. Okay, so I'm going to stop it here because the rest of this is map making, and you now have everything joined that you need to make a map and to make different choropleth maps for different types of crimes. Okay, hope that gets everybody started again.